The Black Sea, a region now among the most fiercely contested on Earth. Here, in a theater of silent tension, American and Russian forces engage in a high-stakes struggle for dominance. In August 2020, that struggle turned dangerously physical. A US B-52 bomber, cruising at 750 feet per second, suddenly found itself at the mercy of a Russian Su-27 fighter. This was no routine intercept. The Russian pilot executed a reckless maneuver designed to deliver a chilling message. The Su-27 raced ahead, turning sharply toward the bomber's nose, closing to within 100 feet of the American aircraft at the same altitude before pulling up violently. This aggressive maneuver, known as thumping or headbutting, subjected the B-52 to intense turbulence. This may explain the unsteady footage captured from within the American aircraft, as one of the crew momentarily lost control of their camera. The proximity made the intercept far more perilous than usual. The B-52, moving at 750 feet per second, coupled with the Russian fighter's close range, left less than 1 second to avoid a potentially catastrophic collision. The United States Air Force issued a formal condemnation, denouncing the Russian aviator's actions as unprofessional. The Su-27 involved in this incident likely originated from the Belbek Air Base in occupied Crimea. From this strategic location, fighters are constantly on standby, ready to intercept NATO aircraft operating in the Black Sea region. The B-52's patrol was part of a series of increased activity in recent months, including exercises simulating the launch of cruise missiles, actions that deeply unsettled Moscow. On that same day, another incident unfolded. An Su-27 was observed flying near a B-52 bomber over the Baltic Sea, near the Danish island of Bornholm. This maneuver, although less dangerous than the Black Sea encounter, constituted a violation of Danish airspace. Russia has repeatedly intercepted American aircraft in international airspace, spanning from the Arctic to the Bering Strait, but its actions in the Black Sea have demonstrated a marked increase in aggression. 3 years later, these interceptions escalated to physical contact. The MQ-9 Reaper drone, though unmanned, is a highly capable asset. It can operate at altitudes up to 50,000 feet and remain airborne for as long as 27 hours. This aircraft has been involved in numerous high-profile missions, including the strike that eliminated Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad in January 2020. Russian pilots are well acquainted with the MQ-9 and, knowing that it's unmanned, have been increasingly provocative. On March 14, 2023, two Su-27s harassed a Reaper. One of the Russian fighters was captured on camera, closing in at least twice. Then, the Reaper's camera feed abruptly cut out. The Russian aircraft had deliberately dumped fuel on the drone in an attempt to blind it, a tactic that proved successful. At 7:03 a.m. local time, a collision occurred. A Russian fighter clipped the Reaper's propeller, causing it to crash into the Black Sea, resulting in the total loss of the aircraft. The USA IRFORCE once again accused RUSSIA of conducting unsafe and unprofessional flight operations. Moscow predictably denied any contact had taken place. Later, however, the Russian pilots were awarded medals for their actions in preventing the Reaper from violating Russia's temporary airspace. While there were no human injuries, the loss was significant. Each Reaper cost approximately $30 million. This marked the first collision between American and Russian aircraft since the Cold War, and compelled the United States to reassess its drone operations in the region. American operators were able to wipe the Reaper's software to prevent sensitive data from falling into Russian hands. But this begs the question, why is Russia engaging in such provocative actions against a military force as formidable as the United States, all to protect this specific area? The Black Sea has been a vital geostrategic interest for Russia and the West for centuries. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc was a major setback for Russia. During the Cold War, the Black Sea was effectively a Soviet lake. Afterward, it became increasingly aligned with the West, a development Moscow has long viewed as detrimental to its military and economic security. Russia's geography limits its direct access to the world's oceans for much of the year. Its illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014 was, in part, an effort to secure continued access to the Mediterranean Sea. Sevastopol in Crimea and Novorossiysk, located to the west on the Russian mainland, are Russia's only two warm water ports, remaining ice-free throughout the winter. Maintaining access to the Black Sea is crucial for its shipping, particularly the oil and gas exports originating from Novorossiysk, which are vital to the Russian economy. The port of Novorossiysk has the capacity to export 40 million tons of oil per year. In September 2024 alone, 5.2 million tons were transported on 40 tankers. If the Black Sea is closed to Russia, its trade is choked off, and its navy's ability to reach the Mediterranean and project power further abroad is severely curtailed. Russia's interceptions of American aircraft are part of its broader effort to dominate what it considers its near abroad. Since the annexation of Crimea, Russia has deployed advanced S-400 air defense systems to fortify the region. This is only the beginning. It has also deployed electronic warfare systems and drones, adding further layers to its defenses. Russia's control of Crimea since 2014 means it can now cover almost the entire Black Sea under the protective umbrella of its anti-ship and anti-air missiles. Crimea is the linchpin of Russia's strategy to become the dominant player in the Black Sea, but Russia's strategy extends beyond military deployments. It selectively uses international law to its advantage when convenient. Russia is a signatory to the Montreux Convention, a 1936 treaty that governs the passage of warships through the Turkish-controlled Dardanelles and Bosporus Straits. Russia views the convention as a useful tool to limit NATO's naval presence in the Black Sea, since non-Black Sea nations have highly restricted access. But the convention is a double-edged sword. It also prevents Russia from reinforcing its Black Sea fleet, as Turkey has designated its invasion of Ukraine as a war. The only Russian naval vessels that can pass through the straits are those returning to their home base. The Black Sea is equally vital for the United States and its NATO allies. Since its invasion of Ukraine, Russia has repeatedly used its position in the Black Sea to threaten the global grain supply, much of which is transported through these waters. Ensuring that commercial shipping can freely navigate these waters is crucial for the global economy and the security of NATO countries like Romania and Georgia. It's even important for Turkey, which imports a significant portion of its energy from Russia. Shipping routes reveal just how much stronger Russia's position has become in the Black Sea. Thanks to its occupation of internationally recognized Ukrainian territory, Russia is attempting to transform the Black Sea into a privileged area of influence, a region where it can dictate international rules. To counter this threat, the United States and its allies will need to challenge Russia's anti-access area denial, a 2/AD strategy with a similar A2/AD capacity of its own. This includes a so-called drone wall to surveil and, if necessary, strike at Russian hard power assets to protect NATO's national borders and commercial shipping. However, if incidents like the loss of the American Reaper in 2023 become more frequent, building that drone wall will be far more challenging than building any physical barrier. That is why Russia went ahead with such a provocative attack on the Reaper, to increase the potential costs and the uncertainty for NATO to come up with a containment strategy. It forces leaders to question just how far a nuclear-armed Russia is willing to go to defend what it considers its interests in the Black Sea. This incident represents a small step towards what could be a major shift in international relations. Many analysts optimistically declared that history had ended in 1991 with the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. But that post-Cold War period, which President George H.W. Bush termed the peace dividend, is increasingly appearing to be a historical anomaly. The incidents witnessed in the Black Sea today echo a past era where great power countries competed for influence in vital regions. As General James Hecker of the U.S. Air Force stated after the Reaper collision, this new push by authoritarian powers to disrupt the status quo in those places is a risk to global stability. The Black Sea is one such vital region, and Russia's ambition to regain the power it lost after the Cold War means that American pilots will need to remain vigilant against increasingly aggressive Russian aircraft. If there is one lesson to be learned about Vladimir Putin, it is that he will push the boundaries as far as he believes he can get away with. This is Goba Military, and subscribe for more real-time battlefield breakdowns and tactical deep dives.